a case that is currently before the Supreme Court. And it will be answered by the decision that ultimately comes from the Supreme Court on the release of the film Udaipur Files, a film that is based on the 2022 murder of tailor Kanhaiya Lal for supporting Nupur Sharma. Today, it seemed likely that the Supreme Court will tell the parties objecting to the release of Udaipur Files to approach the Delhi High Court. But in the meantime, will the stay on the release of this film remain? That decision will be taken on Friday. The two people who want Udaipur Files out of theatres are Jamiat Ulema-i-Hind President Maulana Arshad Madani and one of the accused in Kanhaiya Lal's murder, Mohammad Javed. What is significant was the plea filed by the Jamiat chief today. This plea was against the centre's approval of the film with an additional 6 cuts. Just to bring you up to speed with the history of this film, already it had been certified by the censor board. Then just on the eve of its release, it was stayed by the Delhi High Court. Subsequently, a committee was put together by the centre. A further 6 cuts were suggested, and after that, the centre has okayed its release. But now, the Jamiat says even after these additional cuts, the release should not be allowed. In this plea, the main argument made was that this movie portrays all Indian Muslims as terror sympathizers. It also says that the film unfairly vilifies and villainizes the entire Muslim community, presents it in a negative light, and has the potential to incite violence and communal tensions. The third argument given is that the producer of this film has a history of spreading communal and political hatred, and that this case, hence, should be seen in light of the producer's antecedents, not one involving a genuine filmmaker who is concerned with artistic freedom. In fact, during the arguments, the Supreme Court's own earlier judgment was invoked, where the Supreme Court had said that free speech cannot become hate speech. But in the course of the arguments, the centre also pushed back. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta told the court that the film is crime-focused and not community-targeted. He argued that the movie contextualizes terrorism, avoids real names, and actually comes with a clear disclaimer. There was also a very important question that was raised in court. Should freedom of expression only apply selectively, or must it be religion neutral as guaranteed under Article 19? The producers for their part say that they've done their part, which includes 61 total cuts. They've pulled down the controversial trailer. They have followed all certification processes. They've gone through the grind. The lawyer for the producers, Gaurav Bhatia, cited Supreme Court precedents that favored artistic freedom even in the case of films that had been opposed, films like Padmavat and Ayyari. Menaka Guruswamy, who was representing the accused, warned that this film could compromise the fairness of the Kanhaiya Lal murder trial itself. Interestingly, Justice Suryakant responded to this. He said that judges are trained to decide based on evidence, not on movies or media coverage. The argument actually being given is, don't show the film or the judgment could be biased. The Supreme Court did not quite agree. But in the light of all of this and the larger question of free speech being absolute or at least not being selective, these are the questions today. Does the right to speak, the right to creative expression include the right to offend? Or can the threat of unrest, the threat of mob violence override a filmmaker's a creative voice? And is freedom of expression now being made conditional on the approval of its loudest critics? Joining us on the show, we have Ratan Sharda, author and political analyst. We also have Atikur Rahman, researcher of Islamic studies, and Junaid Khan, who is an advocate of the Allahabad High Court. Ratan Sharda, I'll start with you because vehement assertions were made today where it was said, look, the intent is only wrong. We're all for freedom of expression, but when you want to spread hatred and when the history of the filmmaker is such that he is communal, he is basically bigoted, then how can you treat it as a question of free speech?
Well, good evening. If I remember correctly, and I do remember correctly, when this issue of when actual incident happened of Kanhaiya Lal's throat being cut live on the screen, as far as I remember, none of the Muslim leaders, I think 99% people did not condemn it. On live debates, I asked them whether to condemn, most of them did not. Most kept quiet. when there was another murder of another person who simply sympathized with Nupur Sharma, even there he was murdered, everybody kept quiet. So now when the same, and they very openly said that we are doing this SDSG so that people learn a lesson. And after, if that was not hate, then how come showing that particular crime is a hate? That is my question. Secondly, when they made hue and cry against Nupur Sharma when she quoted the authorized scriptures of Islam, she is condemned for life for Satan se juda threats. But at the same time, people ridiculed Gyanvapi discovery of Shivling, laughed their way to the bank, and they laughed all over the TV, and nothing happened to them. So whether this outrage is only reserved for people who hit the street and carry out these kind of open threat to the law and order, it is not for people who are law abiding. When Parzania came, nothing happened. When PK used religious freedom of expression to ridicule Hindus, nothing happened. So it happens only to sensitive people who can hit the streets. Is
But
that the lesson
Parzania was
that
banned in
courts are
Gujarat.
taking?
As far as I remember, Parzania was banned
Nowhere
in
else.
Gujarat.
Nowhere else it was.
Because in Gujarat it was thought that it would
Yes.
inflame passions.
Yes.
Now the same
But
argument
nobody-
is being given
yes.
in the case
Yeah,
of
but
Udaipur Files.
These are open threats because these are the same people who were hero worship Burhan Wani. So when you say Muslims are being targeted, I'm sorry, Muslims are not demonized. It is leaders of Muslim who have made a business of worshipping, hero worshipping terrorists that you say that Muslims are being demonized. How are Muslims demonized? If they had opposed this particular incident very vehemently and they had not, taken procession out for terrorists who were killed in encounter, then we would have said that it's attacking every Muslims. It's not.
Okay,
So this
Junaid
entire
Khan.
debate is so vacuous that I don't really feel that anybody is demonizing the demons. The people who did demons said they were being demonized. So what's
Okay,
wrong
and
with
that distinction should be made that this film, and that is the argument given Junaid Khan, is only about individuals. Now, it is your impression that an entire community is being villainized. Also remember that there is an entire process. At the end of the day, you have gone through the censor board. It recommended 55 cuts. You went through another committee after the Delhi High Court stayed the film, which recommended another 6 cuts. Now, after going through the whole process, there is another plea which says, we don't like it, we don't agree with the portrayal. I want to quote to you what it is that the Supreme Court itself said just a month back about the movie Thug Life by Kamal Haasan. The Supreme Court pulled up the Karnataka High Court at that time and said mobs and vigilante groups cannot be allowed to take over our streets. And today that same argument is being given, oh, there'll be a law and order problem. Why? Are we going to get people who create that law and order problem dictate what releases in our theatres or not? Junaid Khan.
I think the matter is before the Supreme Court now, and Supreme Court is competent enough to judge that whether some more cuts are required in the movie before it is actually released. As far as the movie is concerned, it is totally an agenda movie, and it is based on political and communal hatred. Every Muslim character in the movie is shown violent, responsible of causing riots, and shown that his activities are against the nation at the behest of an enemy state.
How do you know
And
that?
every
though?
non-Muslim character.
How do you know
Because
that?
the petition, because the trailer and the petition which the Jamiat has filed, I have gone through that, and the non-Muslim characters, including the family of that Kanhaiya Lal, is presented in the movie that they are of the highest virtue and have only positive attributes. And I would like to quote a
Exactly.
paragraph
So
here.
that is the version of the Jamiat, right? Other
I would
people
like
may
to
have
read-
a completely different view of events, including the Censor Board of India, including a government-appointed panel. These are all people who have gone through the film, who have recommended cuts. The law-abiding makers of the film have made those cuts. And now because the Jamiat seems to have a certain opinion of the film, why should it be stopped?
Jamiat is approaching to the Supreme Court. If Supreme Court is convinced with the arguments presented by the Jamiat, then only the cuts will be proposed. Jamiat is not asking a censor board or a movie director to cut the certain scenes. Jamiat Ulema-i-Hind has presented their views before the court of law. And I would like to read a passage where it has in the petition, this scene sets the tone for the movie, where the policeman shows repeatedly refers to Muslim as in log, I want to know that in log is a general statement or a specifically it is towards a particular person. He is saying that in log matlab he is targeting a Muslim community at large.
No, maybe
And
he is
another
only
line
referring to
when
people who are on the streets and threatening
I
violence.
would
Why are you
for
extrapolating it?
that
See,
for that
beauty or
clarification I would
anything
read
else lies in the eyes of the
I would
beholder. That
I
particular
would like to
dialogue
read
can be interpreted in many, many ways. It can be taken to mean
I would
in
like
law
to
could be people who are
I
on the
w-
streets.
if you give me a 1 minute, I would read two more lines and continues to blame Muslims as being responsible for writing by using the terms such as अपने बच्चों को संभालो etc. Another policeman is
ये
showing
कोर्ट
saying
नहीं है
that
ये.
ये उस वायरस का शिकार हैं जो सरहद पार से पिलाया जा रहा है.
Ratan
Is
Shada.
this
What's wrong?
a specific? Is this
See,
targeting a
first of all,
specific person or
let us understand what is Jamiat Islam, Jamiat Ulema. In most of the cases of terrorists or people who are accused of terrorism, they are defended by Jamaat lawyers. They openly say we will defend all the terrorists accused. So that they are. So if tomorrow I say that Jamaat is defending terrorists, am I being venom? Why are they supporting terrorism? When you are supporting terrorism, then you say that we are being demonized. What logic is this? And calling a victim's family not being pious, not being sacred, even that hits you, that hurts you. And when the film is showing the actual accused and the group of people who supported them will not be vilified. So vilifying a criminal is also wrong. Are you saying that you can't accuse a criminal of being criminal? And if you say that Sarhad Par, what is wrong in that? Are you friends of Pakistan? Are you supporting Pakistan? Very clearly alludes to Pakistan, doesn't allude to the Muslims of India. And this entire discussion, when you say that सरहद से पार पाकिस्तान का नाम लिया तो भी आपको हेट है, आप टेररिस्ट को डिफेंड करोगे तो भी हेट है आपके लिए. What is going on? I mean, on one side, these community leaders are supporting terrorists by defending them in the courts. On the other side, they are saying Muslims have been demonized. When you are targeting a particular person who is actually criminal, you are saying they are being demonized. When a victim is shown as a victim, that is also being demonization and showing them in a good show light. Your entire argument falls, Mr. Junaid, that you are out just to defend Muslims because Muslim community, because some of them are terrorists. You will not admit it.
Mr. Junaid.
how he is presenting
When all that
how he is
99%
presenting
terrorists are Muslims and somebody says it, you are hurt. But the court tells you that the majority of them are, Muslims. We are not saying all Muslims are terrorists, but terrorists were Muslims. So, but if somebody says that I am attacked, I am called critical, I am being abused, nobody ever said that what Nupur said was, in fact, sitting here, I think, there are people who said that what she said was not wrong. Still, she is hounded, and you have never come to support Nupur Sharma.
Okay, if we stay to the present, this thing, incidentally, there was a very similar parallel. Atikur Rahman, there was another play, a Marathi play called Me Nathuram Godse Boltoe, and in that, a stay had been sought. The Bombay High Court set aside the ban. The play was banned. The Bombay High Court set aside that ban and they said to have a different view, you can't stop it. That is the freedom of speech and expression. The main point is that you may agree, you may disagree. As long as this entire process has been followed, you cannot quote hurt sentiments or the threat of violence or the antecedents of people to seek a ban.
Padmaja, at the outset, I demand a speedy trial in the Kanhaiya Lal case and justice for Kanhaiya Lal. I was the one, Padmaja, who supported Nupur Sharma, and I had a face-off on Doordarshan with her, saying that what she said was nothing un-Islamic and there is no blasphemy in Islam, so she should be pardoned by the community, and the community was wrong targeting Nupur Sharma. Secondly, Ratan Shada ji is claiming that we are the, we hero worship the terrorists. Who was hero worshipping Monu Manesar, Ratan Shada ji? And so far,
Nobody.
who has worshipped Dara Singh, the killer who burned the young two sons with gram steels? Padmaja, you cannot. I demand that Jamiat Ulema should allow this film along with the a BBC series on Gujarat. You cannot have two yardsticks, Ratan Shadaji. This government, Padmaja, banned the BBC series on Gujarat. Why? Because Gujarat was shown with an ulterior motive according to them. So if the government of India itself, which is in power, a regime Modi government, It is banning a BBC series. And now Ratan Shahdaji, at that time, he said that no, it should have been banned. So if freedom of speech and expression is applied to Kanhaiya Lal movie, why not on the BBC series on Gujarat?
Now, Junaid Khan, even Atikur Rahman is saying that at least the people should be allowed to take that decision. Junaid Khan, decide the merits of the case.
I want to know that how is presenting a case before a court of law is supporting terrorists? If I go by the argument of Mr. who is on the panel with me, that he is saying that Jamiat is presenting each and every accused of a person who is labeled with terror, then a person accused of terror, according to him, should not be given opportunity to put his case before any court of law.
So the two are very different issues. The two are very different issues. I want to bring you back to the point. Atikur Rahman is saying, let the film be released. Let people decide whether it is sympathetic or not. What its intent is, let the people ultimately decide. You cannot police what people are thinking.
The matter is before the Supreme Court. If Supreme Court will find anything objectionable in the movie, then it will take action according to it. If everything will be fine, then why he is afraid that when the matter is before the Supreme Court? Jamiat is not going to judge the movie whether the cuts are required or not.
No. So anyway, the Supreme Court is going to decide. It's only the arguments made by the Jamiat which we are discussing right now, Mr. Khan. Let me also bring in Shivam Sinha, who's an actor in Udaipur Files, joining us right now. Shivam Sinha, the plea made by Maulana Madani of the Jamiat says there is an agenda of political and communal hatred. I'm quoting from his plea. He says an agenda of political and communal hatred behind the film and not genuine concerns of artistic freedom. Basically, you picked it up because you knew that it would create a communal atmosphere in the country. Why?
Basically, first and foremost, I would like to comment on this, that I am an artist of this country. Do I have any right in this country? Yes, I have a right on this for making artistic films, for making films based on truth itself. I want to ask this question through this medium to whole nation: why there is selective freedom of speech? Why there is selective freedom of expression? Kanhaiya Lal was killed. Perpetrators, spotters are roaming freely. They are filing petition against this film, and again people are supporting those perpetrators. I want to ask each and every one of you who are right now sitting in this panel, why? I am an artist of this country and I want answers from you guys, because you guys are supporting.
Atikur Rahman, answer.
Mr. Sinha, I want to echo your point that artistic freedom should not be restrained, and our courts are very much equipped with that. Let the court decide. Since the matter has went to the court, it should not have gone there. What I am trying to do is, I am trying to expose our own Modi government, the regime itself. How can this government ban a BBC series on Gujarat and then demand that no, Udaipur Files is okay? Ratan Shahdaji is the person who supported Dara Singh Panwaja. He killed two young...
Sir, just one moment. Sir, just moment.
And he is saying
when did I do
that
this?
This Kanhaiya movie should be released.
Never.
I am just trying to explain.
I never appeared on a debate.
Ratan Shahda, then Shivam Sinha.
See, there are two things. I never appeared on any TV debate regarding Dara Singh. I talked to Lakshman and Saraswati, who was murdered, cold-blooded by the same people in the tribal areas. But I never talked about Dara Singh's support. Please don't misquote me. Never. Please pick up. Secondly, he talks about BBC. No, RSL didn't support Dara Singh. Don't keep on misquoting and misleading people. No, listen to me. You talk about BBC. BBC is a foreign entity which was trying to misrepresent the Gujarat issue. But in case of Udaipur Files, Udaipur case, it is clearly a true story. So a true story vis-a-vis mispropaganda have two different things. Don't mix up this idea. And you call Sabarmati File as, these people call Sabarmati File, Kerala Files and Kashmir Files, all as propaganda movies. So if somebody talks truth which hurts somebody, you call it propaganda film. But you will keep on abusing Hindus on various issues or making joke of them. You did not, but others did. I appreciate you for
Because
those
Shivam Sinha,
honesty.
your very
But
intent is
don't-
being questioned. Let me quote again what this particular plea says. It says that you're trying to set up a dangerous stereotype of the dangerous Muslim set up in stark opposition to the non-Muslim community, which is portrayed as epitomizing the highest values of human civilization. You are trying to show an entire community as inherently dangerous and bloodthirsty, essentially saying your intent is political. You are demonizing an entire community.
But the murder which has happened 2 years, 3 years back, that was demonic. The perpetrators making a video out of it, showing
Yes.
the murder weapon is demonic. This film is not at all demonic, and this film is not at all
No,
polarizing.
but are you targeting an entire community?
Not at all. Otherwise, why would this film face 50 cuts and 6 tweets? This is legit that this film faced 50 cuts and 6 tweets the moment this case was filed in the Delhi High Court as well as the Supreme Court. So why you are again making this film as a polarizing setup? This is not at all polarizing setup. This film is based on truth. Every film takes cinematic liberty. This film also is taking cinematic liberty, but that liberty is completely based on creativity, not tweaking facts, not at all molding facts. The intention of the film is right. I have met the family of Kanhaiya Lal Sahu myself. A father has been lost. A family has lost the breadwinner, sir. And still people are supporting the perpetrators,
Junaid
the
Khan?
murderers.
May I also add that the witness is underground and he has been harassed and bullied, and he has nearly lost his life because of continuous threats to life. Who secures his life? And the people who perpetrate the crime, they are on bail. Aren't you ashamed?
Junaid Khan? Who's afraid
I
of
would
the
like
truth?
to say only that I would only like to say that the right to freedom of speech and expression cannot be used as a shield for a political and communal hatred
And
against
religion
a
can
community.
be and religion can be used as a defense. Haven't you seen the video of those perpetrators? Aren't they are in a religious attire? Do you want me to change that clip and show a lie to the nation? Please answer me. I'm asking you a very straight question. If freedom of speech cannot be used as a defense, I completely agree with you. But can religion be? Religion can be a defense against this film.
Committed,
This film is based on Kanhaiya Lal Sahu murder case. This film is not at all I mean, I don't know how the opposition is saying that this is a religious film. This is not at all a religious film. This is not about Jamiat Ulema-i-Hind. This film is about brutal murder of Kanhaiya Lal Sahu, which was a hardcore murder.
No, and Junaid Khan, what is this logic that, oh, a crime has happened, then the case should only go on in court, nobody else should talk about it on the outside? Hundreds and thousands of films have been made on crimes. There have been films which were made, by the way, and the court said no, not going to be influenced in any way. Why is it that every possible argument is being made? Threat of violence, justice being influenced, communal agenda, antecedents of producer, to oppose something that actually happened. And cinematic portrayal happens, right? You tell real life stories.
Thank you.
because these movies like this are used for a political motivation of the people
अरे
and to
भाई
create a divide
आपको लग
among
रहा है
community.
ना, that is your point of view that somebody will use it for politics. Anything in the world can be used for politics. Don't make any movie on 9/11. Don't make any movie on Taliban. That can be used for politics by the Republicans in America. What kind of logic is this? Anything on this planet can be used for politics. This debate we are having on TV can be used for politics.
And sir, just to add on, each and every justification given against this film is, I don't want to sound harsh, but any layman can also frame it nonsensical. Some of the associates of the opposition lawyer are saying कि till the Kavar Yatra, let's just temporarily halt this film. Do you think that a legit lawyer can say this on camera?
In fact, the counter argument can be that perhaps this plea which has been filed today, Mr. Atikur Rahman, is very, very political. I mean, I went through the entire 60 pages and the kind of language that has been used almost seems like an incitement. What is said in this plea? While respondent number 1 argues that the entirety of the movie based on its thematic expression is unfit for public expression and exhibition as an expression of audio-visual hate speech against the Muslim community. Now, this is your interpretation of the movie. You could very well be politicizing it in order to say that, oh, in this India in 2025, audio-visual hate is being propagated against an entire community. Mr. Atikur Rahman.
Padmaja, I am under no circumstances supporting the people who are opposing the Udaipur Files. What I am saying is, this particular government, the Modi regime, Mr. Ratan Sharda, why are you being hypocritical, sir? If you say that you never
already responded.
Any of these
Atikur ji नया argument लाई है ना, already respond कर दिया, repeat क्यों कर रहे हैं अपने आप को? तो don't repeat, no. रिपीट मत करिए, बाकी जो बोलना बोलिए आप, रिपीट मत करिए.
No, I will say what I
लोग समझ जाते हैं, समझ है हमें. आपने 3 बार बोला मोदी मोदी मोदी, 3 बार आपने बोला बायस बायस बायस. मैंने 2 बार जवाब दिया, BBC is not Indian entity.
Or he, please, Ratan Sharda ji, your talent on Parzania, you said that the BBC series on Gujarat is a foreign entity. What I am saying is, Monu Mare sir, you supported. Pragya Singh Thakur, you supported.
Okay.
A terrorist accused was taken to parliament and made the member of parliament.
You know, Atikur Rahman, he's already countered all of that. Let me give you the latest. You don't have to even go back to Parzania or to the BBC documentary. I will give you the example of today. This country where you are saying that free speech is given very selectively, Swami Prasad Maurya of the Samajwadi Party 2 days ago said that Kawadiyas in this country are goons, gundas, and they are worse than mafia. Today, when somebody tried to gherao his house, it is the Uttar Pradesh police, the Indian police, which still afforded him security. They gheraued his house, they kept him safe, because that is the kind of free speech that Swami Prasad Maurya enjoys in India, where he can call Kawadiyas worse than mafia and still he will be given security. Unfortunately though, okay, last 30 seconds, Ratan Sharda.
See, this story, this cruel story has sunk into people's subconscious. Whether movie comes or not, people know the cruelty that was perpetrated in the name of religion. Secondly, when Jamiat defends the criminals who openly claim that they on video that they killed that particular, knifing his neck, then that is spreading hate among the people, believing that Jamiat itself is defending those people who have owned up everything.
Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And tomorrow, very critical judgment has to come from the Supreme Court. Should the stay on this movie remain? And this is not to comment on the merits of the film. Maybe it is an extremely well-made film which will do really well. Maybe the audience will reject it. But do they have the right to tell their story in this India? They still do. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining me in your interest.
एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर एंकर टूथपेस्ट, नए जमाने की नई सुरक्षा।
ये रोशनी का सफर दिलचस्प है, दिलचस्प है।
हम सूरज से सिर्फ बिजली नहीं बनाते हैं, खुशहाली को देश के कोने कोने तक भी पहुंचाते हैं।
ये रोशनी का सफर
अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं।
Fresh air, the roof but different, the grill but different, the alloys but different, the seats but different. Different is in the XUV 3XO Rev X series, starting at rupees 8.94 lakh.